Here now to react is Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz. Matt, I saw you on Special Report last night. I don't know when you sleep, but last night's election, it kind of reminds you of 2016 last November with Hillary Clinton losing the unlosable race and then refusing to concede. We have that yet again. What do you make of it?
Well, I echo the president's congratulations for Doug Jones. My district in Florida has a long border with the state of Alabama. And what's important to remember is that it wasn't the policies of the Republican Party or President Trump that were rejected. It was Roy Moore that was rejected. So I think the long-term lesson here isn't that Democrats are going to start rolling up victories in the Deep South. The lesson is we probably shouldn't nominate people who then admit to dating high school girls in their 30s.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And let me clarify, Hillary Clinton did concede. She refused to give that concession speech, leaving everybody there at the Gaetz Center wondering what happened. Let's go to the numbers here. It was very tight. 49.9% for Jones, 48.4% for Roy Moore. And then you had about 22,000 write-ins of people that wanted to probably vote Republican but said, I can't vote for Roy Moore when he's under this cloud of suspicion here, as you just stated. And the write-ins, I think, made all the difference in the world, you would say, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. And again, it shows that there's not some great attraction in the Deep South to the policies that Democrats are fighting for. In fact, on the issues, Republicans continue to enjoy a really broad and deep level of support in this region of the country. Yeah. It's just that Roy Moore was a uniquely flawed candidate. We're going to move on, and we'll have to fight a little harder and work a little harder to get legislation through the Senate with now a very razor-thin margin.
Yeah, and this was this is a blood-red state, Alabama. I think. Do you think it was arrogant that he thought that even, with these allegations against him, which seemed very credible, that he didn't drop out of this race?
Well, it's probably arrogant people that think that they can date high school girls in their 30s and get away with it. So, yeah, again, I think that this was more about Roy Moore than the policies. I think the policies that will lift people up and ensure that we've got better quality of life for all Americans are the policies that Republicans are fighting for. But this will make it harder to deliver on those promises because we've now got the slimmest of slim margins in the Senate. And my hope is that Republicans in the Senate will now work together more and actually fight to get things across the finish line and to President Trump's desk. That's what's going to help us propel to victory in a 2018 election where the map substantially favors Republicans in the Senate.
Yeah, it really could force the president, at least with the Senate the way it is, to be more bipartisan. Let's go over to the developments overnight. These text messages that came out are quite juicy, I would say. And you got Rod Rosenstein heading to testify before the House Judiciary Committee today. What is it you guys are trying to get out of the Deputy AG?
Well, we have got to find out why there is this infection of bias that seems to have really crippled the Mueller investigation. And we don't seem to know why Bob Mueller seems to always wind up with people on his team who hate the president. And we see time and again circumstances where people are compromised by their bias, by their financial setting, by their job, by their spouse. And we really need to be able to move on past this. And we'll be asking the Deputy Attorney General, how was it that Bob Mueller picked these members of his team? And I don't think it's a coincidence that so many of them seem to have a pro-Hillary Clinton bias and an anti-Donald Trump bias.
Yeah, I did see anti-Donald Trump bias. I also saw on CBS that, I think Strzok called Bernie Sanders an idiot as well. So I'm not sure where his politics lie, but he certainly is anti-Trump. Let's bring up some of these text messages here. This is from March 4th, 2016, when everything was really hot and we were election crazy in this country. Here's Strzok. Would he be a worse president than Cruz, talking about Donald Trump? Lisa Page saying Trump, yes, I think so. Strzok, I'm not sure. Strzok, oh my God, he's an idiot. So, I mean, this really looks bad for somebody that ends up investigating this whole thing. And as we've talked about before, Strzok was a critical part of the investigation into Hillary Clinton as well, and certainly seemed that he thought that she was the best pick for the job with the options that we had in this country.
Well, you're absolutely right. And why, right after the election, before there's even a special counsel appointed, would you have these folks talking about Watergate? It's because I think the fix was in. They wanted to get a special counsel appointed not to objectively unearth facts, but to persecute this president because they didn't like him. I think we should have had a stronger vetting process to ensure that the people on Bob Mueller's team weren't like at Hillary Clinton's victory party like Andrew Weissman won, and certainly weren't people texting back and forth with their boyfriends or girlfriends about how they had a pre-existing bias against the president. Let's not forget, Strzok was also the individual that changed the wording of James Comey's exoneration statement of Hillary Clinton from grossly negligent to extremely careless. So this guy's all over these investigations, and the bias is pervasive.
Yeah, it's a big story, and the texts, we're still digging through them. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on this morning.